And it's ideally in the shade. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is that it? Okay. So, hi. Okay. Let's just from here. We're just starting. That's a sweeping motion. Okay. And you can either sweep in place or you can sweep. All right. And then the sweep can turn into a striking motion. See what I mean? In other words, if you're surrounded by a bunch of attackers and you got a sharp spear, you start doing this, they may not want to charge in. Okay, so sweeps are kind of clear space, boom, boom. You can sweep the other way, right, which is more a reverse striking motion, you know, but, whoa, okay, whoa. And again, you got to watch this if you're doing it inside, because this is where you break stuff. So since we're outside, I started out, I just longer, okay. Now, if you kind of look at this, there's a circle, that's a sweep, but there's also the center. So as we're doing this, we're getting a little bit of balance, center, circle, circle, center. Okay? Center, circle, circle, center. Boom, there's a balance right there. Right? If you have just a circle without the center, or conversely, your center is here, but it's fixed, it's locked. So here, in motion, the center, circle, the circle, center. Yeah, yeah. If you have to clear a path for yourself, I mean, not that we're going to get attacked by a ninja army, but whoa, whoa, that sort of motion. So there's a center, there's a circle that moves around it. There's also the circle, there's a center. So you really don't have one without the other. Okay, you don't really have right without left, because if everything is right, then what happens is there is no left, and there's no right either. You see what I mean? Right exists because there's left. Okay, so what I want you to do, just sweeping, sweeping motion, center, circle, circle, center. Yeah, center, circle, circle, center. Okay. Okay. Now, for example, here, this is a big motion. It takes a lot to go this way. But what we can do, for example, is that and that. Okay, so now there's a center circle, a center circle, a center circle right, a center circle left. Okay? And so in Aikido, one of the major things is the center circle. And, when you're working with a weapon, okay, there's a right side center circle. Now there's a left side center circle. Okay? And, you have to learn where the hands go and how the feet go, but kind of seeing the larger relationship. Okay? Center circle, center circle. Okay? So shortening it, we're taking the big sweep and then the big sweep, which is easier to see center circle in, and saying there's a center circle and there's a center circle. Okay? Okay, so just your regular striking motion. Center circle, center circle. There's a center circle right, there's a center circle left. Okay? Okay, all right. Now, one of the things, for example, I'm using this, which is a longer staff, okay? And, for example, here as I go this way, there's more resistance, okay? So I have a center circle, but there's also this problem. This is longer, okay? When Michael Jordan was playing baseball, right? He played baseball, but there was one guy on the Giants, Mike Krukow, said, he's going to have trouble. Basketball, long arms, they help you. When you're trying to get around on a fastball, long arms means a bigger swing. Now, what happened is he took him a while, but right towards the end, he was starting to get it. I don't think it was, because I think Jordan, boom, he would have, because everything's core. See, this motion here is like boom. Yeah, see that right there? Okay. So as you go, center circle right, center circle left, something starts to show right in the middle, which is like a core. Some people get a line, a center line, but I get a lot the core right there. Okay, so center circle right, center circle left, center circle right, center circle left. Now with the core, boom, boom. And as Jordan kind of found his core, I don't think the length of his arms would have been any trouble. Lee McCovey had really long arms. He played for the Giants, but he could get around on a fastball. Okay, it's just a lot of his. It's all it's perception, vision, core. Perception, vision, core. Perception, vision, core. Okay, so as you go, center circle right, center circle left, you're going to feel something in the middle. Some people kind of pick up a post or a column. Okay, boom, boom. And if I'm just out there with it, I haven't got the center circle. I'm either locking into the center and trying to do right, left, or conversely, I'm flailing out there in the circle, okay? So as we go this way, it's center circle right, center circle left. Okay? So try it. See, this sort of a thing gives you a disadvantage. It gives you an advantage. You got reach. Okay, but on the other hand, it's slower until you go that way, that way, that way, that way, that way, that way, that way. Because, all right. And so that part of it's important. Now, we just started out, for example, let's just go through it because it's just a pretty easy progression. Sweep right side, sweep left side. Okay. Now, what we're saying is that for that, there's a center to circle around it. Okay. I can just do that out there. But center circle, right side, the center circle, left side. We're starting. So let's just do a little bit of review. Center circle right, center circle left. So just try that a little bit. Try to get the right. There's a center circle going on. And there's a center circle going on. Okay? Center circle going on right side, center circle going on left side. Okay? Whoa. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't take that long to catch. It's just a lot of times what we're doing is we're going out there. All movements in Aikido have a center and a circle. You can start with the circle. You can establish a center. You can start with the center. You're going to have to establish a circle. Okay, it's just pretty much just the way it goes. To get one without the other, there's things don't happen. Okay, now what happens? We're going right side, center circle, left side circle. We're making it a little smaller, okay? In other words, instead of the sweep, it's a strike right and a strike left, okay? Keep going. Okay, now, this is what we're going to do a little bit. Center circle right, center circle left. Okay, now if you just go right side and left side, I'm holding a real long weapon, so there's drag. Okay, it's called the inertia. Objects in motion want to stay in movement unless there's an outside force. Okay, and objects at rest don't want to move, really, unless you put energy into it. Okay, that's called the inertia. It goes both ways. All right, some people you can't get to stop being stupid, and some people don't want to do anything. Okay, but right here, for example, boom, boom. But I'd like you to realize when you start to get the center circle right, the center circle left, something starts to happen in the middle. And that's real important. Okay? What do I mean by that? In other words, I'm going, I got that, but there's a gap, and I got that. Then I try to do both, and it's, okay? Now, how in the world do I get a center circle right and a center circle left? How do I do the math out there? Well, you do the math in here. Okay, for example, boom. This is fluid here, right in the middle with your core, boom, boom. All right, so you do enough right-left center circle to start to get something in the middle. You can call it a center, you can call it a core. Okay, so keep going. Just want you to kind of experiment with that a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So just a little bit of that. Um, that motion, balance. See, if I'm just kind of busy out there, I don't develop the core or the center. Okay, so it's important. Right, left, center circle, left, right, center circle. Boom. See, I'm going this way, but part of me is turning this way. I'm going this way, but part of me is turning that way. Right? But that's the circle. Establishing the center. Establishing the center. Now, going from the circle to the center is difficult. So what you do is just establish right, left, center circle, left, right, center circle. Keep doing that and you'll start to feel something in the middle. It can be, you know, like some people get a post, some people kind of get the core, some people get a sense of space, you know, boom, whatever it is. It's very individual. All right. And if you just stay with the movement, you don't pick that up. The center circle, you know, and they have to be in balance. If it's all circle, very little center, it's hard to do. But if it's all just fixed center, I also don't get much. Okay? So keep going. Anthony, a little bit more interior with the center. So you can run around out there thinking about the center and the circle. But really, there's a motion, there's a circle, but there's a center. Likewise, there's a circle, there's a center. Conversely, there's a center, there's a circle. Okay, there's a center, there's a circle, but you see it a little bit more in here. Okay, keep going. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, see that? Movement becomes crisper. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 There's a lot of activity around the center. The center, however, is not a fixed center. You see what I mean? It's stable. Well, Sensei said move in circles around a stable center. A fixed center would appear to be what you want, but you don't. It's a stable center, which means in motion, the harmony of the center and circle hold because there's something here, okay? So stable center is a little different than center circle center, okay? But the center circle center is important to understand the stable center, okay? I know it's a lot of words. Boom, boom, right? In other words, you're going here, boom, boom, okay? No, boom, boom. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. See, you can get better at the movement out there than you have on a good day. And a bad day, where did it go? Because there's a, the algorithms are important, okay? Like, for example, the coronavirus, we don't want the first vaccine. It might be fraught with a lot of stuff, say, oh yeah, there's a vaccine. It's like, well, how effective is it? And science is saying, wait, you don't want to jump just because you want it, right? You've got to say, well, it's got to be something that is tested and retested and retested. And there's a big sample group who say, okay, that's good, as opposed to here, the first one. You want it? It's free. Yeah, okay. So that way is tricky. You don't want to go, okay. But when you get, for example, this, and then you get this, right? There's a center circle to that motion. There's another center circle to that motion. Okay? Now, what happens is as you start to do that, something starts to show in the middle, like, stable center. Well, that can be a post column. That can be a point here. That could be a point here in space. That could be the sense of core showing. Okay? Now, when you establish the stable center, which is a little different between, let's just say, the center of center circle. It's the center, but see what I mean? Okay, in basketball, you play center on this team, but then on another team, you play another position. All right, the center position is center position, but there's movement depending on circumstance. Okay, so right here, boom, boom, establish the center circle. I'm not just establishing the center. I'm establishing something about the center circle. You find the movement flows. You find there's a kind of a balance. Good. Okay. And right here, so at some point, the thing in the middle shows. Okay. Now, a lot of times people start focusing on this point, but they don't have a right left. They don't move. There's a lot of space around that point. They tend to kind of go vacuous. And then you get people that are very busy out here, and then they eventually wear out. Maybe sooner as opposed to later these days. So, boom. There's a right side, but there's a center circle to that right side. Boom, there's a left side. There's a center circle to it. Okay? Now, when you start to get the stable center, what you're really able to do Sensei said this. He said, you move in circles around a stable center. That's a little different than center circle. Okay, now for example, the right side center circle is a track. The left side is a track. Okay, now he said move freely in circles around the stable center. So you will go one track to the other track. One track to the other track. Okay? Okay? Keep going. See, people say, speed is about how fast you do the movement out there. Speed is about having that stable center and be able to go from circle to circle or track to track around that center. See, the word track replaces the center circle for right and left. A movement is a track. You're on a track here, but you can shift to a different track. And you can do that really quickly. Or you're pretty comfortable here, staring death in the face. I mean, that's the samurai type of thing. Like, okay, I'm Nemuri Kyoshiro, the full moon swordsman. You're screwed, but you don't know it yet. Okay, so, I mean, we're not quite that level, but okay. So what I want you to experiment with a little bit is, okay, okay, there are days when, you're just doing a form, okay? I'm busy doing it, I'm going to get a workout, okay? But center circle right, center circle left. I kind of found the movement sort of comes together better. Center circle right, center circle left, okay? Now I do that for a bit. Something in the middle starts to show. And that's very, very, Bruce Lee said, finger pointing to the moon, not the moon. So if you look at somebody, they might be really emphasizing, but you got to find your own. You might be that point here. You might be the column. You might be the core. Okay? All right? And so right here, boom, boom. Even though I'm holding something long, where there's a lot more resistance to the motion, I can shift tracks. I can shift tracks. Boom. Okay, so I just want you to experiment with it a bit. Just do the movement, add the center circle right, center circle left, see what you start to pick up, and that third thing is what's in the middle. Okay, and that's the game right now. Yeah, okay. Okay, now right here, don't be blinded by the light. Because you want the light to, the other thing that you can pick up, more advanced. There's right and there's left, center circle right. There's something in the middle, and something can be light. Boom. But if I see the light out there, it's radiating from inside you. Boom. It's a bit more advanced, okay? But you don't, I'm in a dark room, somebody turns the light on. Now, the light's coming from inside you, so you can go this way, go that way. Okay? Better. It's coming from inside you. If it's outside, it's disoriented. You think, oh, light, but you can't see, right? If it's radiating from inside you, it's a part of you. Okay, so keep going. Light. You may be picking up light. That's advanced. Most people pick up a column, or they pick up a core, or they pick up a point. You're picking up the light right there. That's your center. Okay? Okay. Now, what I want you to do there is, the game after a while is what's in the middle. And, you can use balance. Okay, so for example, you can just center circle to get you something here. But sometimes you kind of do something like, there's a right side center circle and a left side center circle. And it's not that you waste time, it's just that, it's good to have a basic procedure. Some people, they don't need that. They're just so dot. But Steph Curry, I was watching his video on shooting. He says, you might think, and I think he probably fibbed, that I start coming in and throwing it up from half court. He says, I don't do that, although he probably does. But when he's giving an instructional video, he says, this is the form shot. I'm 8 feet from the hoop, and this is what I check. Feet, position of hands on ball, all right? You want all, he said, 10 fingers towards the hoop. Funny grip, funny grip. But, see, there's a rotation. There's a that and a that. Ideally, say you get a left and you get a right in that shot. That's why you look at it, he goes like that. He's not shooting over there. Boom. But he's getting a balance of these two core rotations, or say two spiral energies. Boom. Put 10 fingers towards the hoop, okay? And toes not in a funny direction. He says that he holds it. He doesn't shoot in a hanmi, but he shoots with a little bit of a slant to the left. Boom. Okay, and I tried that. What I found is when you spread the feet out, you get more arc in the shot, which is good. Okay, if you shoot this way, that's fine, but it's a flatter shot. Boom. Okay, so you find form and function. When you research it, there's a purpose to the form. Okay, and so here, proper hands, proper position. There's a center circle to the right. There's a center circle to the left. Okay, center circle right, center circle left. Okay, and that's important. Now, what's in the middle? For me, I pick up a core, and then that motion, boom, that allows me to shift from the center circle right to the center circle left. Now, if somebody looks at it and says, oh, that's speed. No, you're just establishing the stable center so the circle shift from track to track happens like that. Okay, so it's experiment. You've got your basic cut. Each side, right side, left side, is a center circle. Okay, so the right side center circle, there's a left side center circle. As you start to get the balance, something in the middle shows. Then check it. Anthony, you're letting the light blind you again. It's inside you. Anthony's a little advanced. He's picking up light right here. But there's El Topo, right? It was a movie where, the mole burrows towards the sun, right? But he gets to the surface, looks at the sun, and he turns blind. Okay, so, he's living in darkness, he's going towards the sun, just sees the sun, goes blind. Okay, in Aikido, the light is inside you. The center may show as light. Okay, that's advanced. So right now you're going back and forth. Let's go back to the center circle right, center circle left. You start to hit that light more increasingly inside you, and the movement, the shift of tracks will be more effortless. Okay, but that's an important shift right there if you're going to use weapons. Okay, keep going. Yeah. So you got to Shugyo is respectfully messing around. Yeah. If you don't mess around, you get too rigid. If you just mess around in a disrespectful way, there's bad karma. Okay? So you are respectful in the way you mess around. Okay? And so you experiment. You try different things. You try different combinations. For you, when Anthony gets the light, that's what's between his right, left. Okay? But if he looks at it, he's the mole. But the mole is looking for what's out there. The purpose of the mole digging all that is to find the light inside. Okay, the purpose of the film is kind of like at the very end, the hero is kind of a gunfighter, and it's so crazy. What does he do? Well, I won't ruin it for you. Right, but he's on a quest, spiritual quest. He's a gunfighter. You know, it's violence. You know, it's like the samurai somewhat, but they're looking for a zenness to their path. Right. So if you see the light, it can put you back. But getting the balance, the light starts to increasingly show here. Then it's your center. That's you. All right. And most of us, we look at our true self and go, I can't be that. In stages, get your balance. We're kind of doing. I like your shirt, by the way. Yeah. All right. Um, well, we're shooting right here, so unfortunately, uh, kinda. Can you give us another 40 minutes, or is that just you can do your ball handling? You know, you can do your Steph Curry workout. But we kind of need this space. So sorry. For a long time, they had the hoop down, which is a huge, you know, just like discourage people. But I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. 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 Now, so the game becomes the ability to move in circles around the stable center. Maybe a big circle, could be boom, 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 boom. See, I get the core right there. Some people get, you know, some people kind of get ground. You see what I mean? They, you know, but you got to watch for like, okay, ground. I'm set over here, but the ground here is very alive. Whoa. Okay. Oh, by the way, I put your sister in my prayers. Okay. Yeah. So sure. So you can. So I'm glad she's able to join us today. Okay. Let's just do it. We're going to do a bit of a recap. Okay. Now, what we started out with, we can do this pretty quick. And the recap is always good because a lot of times, you know, you get so busy in the moment, we miss kind of the design of it. We started out sweep, strike, okay? And then we go the other way, sweep, strike. Okay, so that's just where we start. It's a big motion, but there's a center circle to that. You see what I mean? The center circle, a center circle, all right? And that can be an idea, but you reference what that does for the motion. It organizes it, okay? There's a ton of details to doing that right. But if you get the center circle right, the details tend to kind of flow, all right? So to do the big sweeps, we'll catch you up in about 90 seconds, but okay? And careful for trying this in the living room where you might break something, okay? Okay, good. Now, what we're gonna do is this. We're just gonna take it right side, left side. Same movement, it's just smaller. That's better, Anthony. You see what I mean? You're solid. Everything comes into balance when you get the center circle, and starting to appreciate what's in the middle. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. Now, pattern. There's a center circle right. There's a center circle left. Now, most of the time I'm going to go in here and here. The longer staff makes the movement slower. Okay, but I get the center circle right. I get the center circle left. Okay, which means there's a track. Each circle is a track. Now, something in the middle starts to show for you. like for Anthony right here, he's getting light. Where's that light most of the time? Well, we don't get the balance, center circle right, center circle left. We're just caught up in this confusion. But when you start to do the Aikido movements, it takes you back more into yourself. So for me, I have a core there. Somebody else may get a column. Somebody else might get the point here. Some people get space. But if the space is interior, if it's out there, light can blind you. I'm really running from me. I don't want to be who I'm supposed to be. So, all right. Conversely, I'm spacey. But if the space is inside, that's you. All right? You talking to you about yourself. Okay? So the light for him, when he lines up to it, he's right on point. And when he's looking at it, he tends to go like that. It blinds him a little bit. Okay? So one of the things that O-sensei stated, he said, then you move in circles around a stable center. Now at that point, we're saying there's a center circle right, there's a center circle left. Now, but how do I get from this to that? This is long and heavy. Something starts to show in the middle. Like for me, the stable center is a core. Okay, boom. That looks faster, but all it is shifting from this track or circle to that track. Whenever, if I can boom, do that, boom, then that motion becomes effortless, right? Boom. Now if I try to copy that, I'm too busy and I don't have a center circle. And it's just me kind of getting exercise. Yeah, that's good. You feel the difference right there? Yeah. Okay. So again, my definition of shugyo is you mess around respectfully. You're respectful in your research. You don't put a mustache on O-sensei's picture. All right. But you take a lot of what he says and you personalize it. Okay? Because we're all different. So work the form. Work the right side center circle, left side center circle. See what shows as your stable center. Now mine's the core, yours might be something different. And then, well, see if you can start to shift tracks, right, left, okay? It's different than doing right side, left side faster. Okay, so that sort of motion, that sort of research is important. Okay, so, most any motion has kind of like a center circle to it. Now again, the stable center, circles around the stable center, that's different than center circle. That's why O-sensei is really tricky to read, okay? Because after a while, my suspicion, you get a triangle within a circle, within a square. Okay, now you have a circle, right? But you have a triangle moving within the circle. Then you have the square representing something there. And when you get the triangle, center, circle, triangle, circle, square of something, you establish a track. But it looks, of course, like a circle. And at that particular point, something right in the middle starts to show for you. Some people, they start to pick up their breathing at a different level. Their breathing becomes the center. He's got his light. You may have your post, you may have your point, you might have a variety of different things, and your experience will change. But certain things are kind of major archetypes. They kind of show again and again. Okay, I hope we didn't drive that guy away with a basketball, because there's a lot in basketball that way. Okay, I can only go this way. Okay, then what he does, get over there. He's taking away my driving lane. I can't go this way. Okay, but all of a sudden I go this way and I get an easy basket. He has to come a little bit more in the center. Okay, and then he goes this way, but then he's fast enough to go that way. So I have to go boom, 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 and then something. So it's you see what I mean? Those are rhythms you start to feel from this place in the middle. And what happens is you can shift from this track to that track, boom, and you can shift from that track to that track, or that track to that track. If you want to watch somebody who does that beautifully, watch Stephen Curry. All right. Any top professional has some of it, but there's some people, they move, and where just a term, they come from a wow place, a wow dimension. And so they're shooting a basketball towards a hoop. You go, huh? There's a couple of East Coast intellectuals, Lauren Hare and his wife Tricia. And about 4 years ago, I'm over at Lauren's house having an Aikido meeting, and his wife Trish comes in and says, "Lauren, you have to take me to a warrior game." It just blew us both away. I got to see Steph Curry. I went, wow. You see what I mean? That's the wow. Let's say it was some sort of wow dimension. Okay. With a wow level of himself right there. Now, most of us, I mean, we don't really consistently make it there. Okay. But what if we could? This is a horrible time, but you're hanging out in a more archetypal level of yourself. So you see the world in ways that the people caught up in this craziness don't. Yeah. Well, since they said, don't call things good or evil, but he didn't say there wasn't good and evil. But when we start to kind of judge and that's good, that's not, we're caught out there as opposed to spending time in our true center being place. So I think he wanted us somehow, well, I don't care what your politics are, to start to kind of go back into the more original, like the light, for example. If you're looking for it out there, it's very deceptive. And when you see it, whoa. So it's something that radiates from inside. Then it becomes your center. You see what I mean? That's you. And you do a little left-right stuff just to kind of calibrate that, because all of a sudden, I can fall asleep in the line too. So I know it's crazy, but okay. So one of the things here, now we do these changes, right? Okay, now you see here, well, first of all, if I was going to do something, this is a figure 8, okay? Now, this is figure 8 going right to left, left to right. Okay, good. Now, from here, thumb down from the top, thumb down from the top. You keep the figure 8 going, it shoots stars. Thumb down from the top. Thumb up from the bottom. Thumb up from the bottom. You can do either pattern. If you want to keep going one way, you go top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. Oh, let's see if it's yes. Yeah, well, spam. Okay, so that's a good one. Okay. Now some of these drills are difficult. Okay. But you know, all that fancy stuff Stephen Curry did with does with the basketball. I'm sure that when he first tried them, he just dribbled the ball off his knees or ankles. So, you know, you got to put some time in. But for example, here, all right, now what I'm doing is this is harder to do with a long one, right? Now I can figure eight, and I can go the other way. So I'm walking in a circle, walking in a circle, walking in a circle, and I'm turning the staff in the direction of my walk, okay, all right? Okay, everybody sort of has that one. That's homework if you want it. But even, for example, we're going like this, you know, we go into an ikkyo, you know, we boom, that's kotegaishi. Boom, like that, that's shihonage. You'd be surprised the number of basic Aikido moves, the hand change comes from this, okay? Now, I call this, it's a thumb down, I call that fire, thumb up, water. But, so this is also a figure eight or center circle. So I used to call it fire water changes. Now I call it fire water center circle changes. Fire water center circle changes. Okay, good. Okay, now this is a harder one. I'm going to go one way, which is here, it's counterclockwise, and I'm going to spin clockwise. Likewise, if I go here, I figure eight, I'm going to turn the body, walk in a clockwise direction, spinning counterclockwise, and see if I can get some. This is harder. This is what I call counterintuitive motion. Okay? So that's a little bit of what you call homework, if you want to do it. But now we've done some. See, if you look at it, we're doing a balancing. Okay? In other words, there's a center circle, and there's a fire-water changes. Here, the center appears to be out here, but the real center is inside you. Okay? If you can do both the intuitive motion, turning and spinning in the same direction, and you can do the counterintuitive, which is turning and counter spinning, okay? Then what you do is you work on just being very, very fluid with both. Do the figure eight, you can reverse your intuitive direction. You can also harder reverse your counterintuitive direction. And then your system's pretty free. Okay, now what we're going to do is we work the right side, center circle, left side, center circle. Okay, and there was something in the middle. So now what we're going to do, and the first thing we did was figure eight. Figure eight. Now, this is a two-hand figure eight. Boom, 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 boom. The one-handed figure eight is good, but the two-hand, adding that hand will either make it heavier or boom, 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 boom. So one thing the double figure eight grip does, it gets you in touch with what's in the middle. Boom, 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 boom. And when I'm in the middle, as opposed to out there, or even on one side or the other, boom, 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 I can shift from circle to circle around a stable center. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Okay, now What I want you to do, we have this motion, and we have a variety of different motions. Okay? So, one way of looking at it, you get a balance center circle right, you get a balance center circle left. You start to get yourself as the center in whatever form you get it. You just might feel your hips more. You might feel your feet more. It's very, very personal. Okay? But when you sort of get this, see, this is unwieldy out there. But when you get see, I'm shifting tracks. Even without a spin, just a figure eight. Boom, 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 boom. And give yourself more room. Okay? Because this can get kind of wild. Boom, 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 Okay, come on in for a bit. And so again, when you're here, you might start out, just with some right and left. And then you can start out right side, center circle, left side, center circle. You start to pick up something in the middle. For me, it's just the core area here. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Okay, now once you get that core, you're moving towards what Osensei called the stable center. Now the stable center is not a set. If you set, you're not stable because everything out there is changing. But if you're caught out here, you're going to go nuts. So what you're able to do is you go from that to that, to that, to that, to that, to that, to that. So each of these is a different track. That to that, that's 2 tracks. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 tracks or 4 beats. Boom, 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 boom. If you watch Curry, is he going to go this way or that way? Is he going to shoot or is he going to dribble? Is he going to pass? Boom. These are all different tracks. Within the track of the game, there are sub-tracks. And the more dimensions you have, the more you can add to the game. That's basketball, but it's Aikido. Okay? In other words, I can go this way, I can readjust and go that way. I'm going to go that way, I can readjust and go that way. So adaptability is important. It's hard to practice without a partner. Okay? But sometimes what a partner does, a partner locks us into a particular thing. And here, okay, boom, boom. If you're coming in this direction, boom, 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 boom. Coming, so boom, boom, boom. Okay. Now, for example, here, if you're coming in this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're attacking us, I'm from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Track, 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 track. Okay. Once you're on a flow, you go from track, track to track. Okay. And Osensei said something like, he said, there are no forms in Aikido because Aikido is a study of the spirit. Spirit is free, but not undisciplined. You see what I mean? It's very fluid and free, but it's not like that sort of free. You're in the moment, shifting from track to more appropriate track to more appropriate track. Okay, so, we standing in something you might call spirit, all right, is something that got this, you got this. All of a sudden, the middle and spirit will show. Maybe as a core, maybe as a light. It's very individual. If you say, okay, we are now the point below the belly school, then that's a good starting place. But eventually, you got to find your own. Okay. All right. So what I want you to do is, this is tricky. You respectfully mess around. Spread out a little bit more, it gets wild. Be able to go from the actual form, right, left, to center circle, right, left. Start to pick up that in the middle, there's something that is there. That's your stable center. It'll show differently for different people. Then see if you can start to just improvise, which means every move you make is a circle. It's a track. And see if you can then shift freely from track to track. Shift freely from track to track. You might add some of the fire water changes. You might add the center circle principle is always there. Okay? So, David, what's the time like? Okay, all right. Okay, just come in here for a bit. So sometimes, you can be in something pretty good and not recognize it. But when you're in that space where you can shift from track to track to track smoothly, then that's pretty advanced. Okay? Now, a lot of what the form is, you kind of need to know the right and the left. But a couple of things, a lot of times people, okay, I got a right, I got a left. On a bad day, I got a right, I got a left. You can have your bad days. Okay, so the center circle right, the center circle left is kind of it's a good exercise. The other one, since I really like, is fire water. So I used to call this the fire change and this the water change. And then I realized, yeah, but there's also a center circle going on, isn't there? So I kind of call it the fire, water, water, fire changes now, or the center circle, water, fire changes. You're doing both. Okay. So you kind of like, okay, any motion, has a fire and a water imbalance. And that motion has a fire and water imbalance. And this motion has a fire and water imbalance. And this motion, so you're going, there's a fire, water imbalance, and boom, boom. So he kind of had his alchemical procedures, not just as, okay, I got my right, I got my left. Okay. I think he realized, as good as he was, his body was going to age. And that's it. If you're a warrior, athlete, whatever it is, your body goes, you go, right? But he wound up finding something a little different. It wasn't a fountain of youth. I don't know if he had superpowers or anything like that, but he found something kind of different. But he is I mean, okay, we're going to work a right side technique, but there's a center circle balance to it. All right, we're going to work a left side, but there's a center circle balance to it. That'll take you somewhere to all right, okay. So those are just things that you kind of research a bit. Now, what I thought we'd do, because it's something that we were kind of working to establish. See, if you establish this track, if you're coming into stroke, just a boom. If you're coming into stroke, just a boom. Right? See, if you're a little late, you can adapt. You see what I mean? And if we make it, it's a form, yeah, that's good. To that motion, I'm going to get a right, left, center circle, or a left, on this side. But then, right there, something starts to show in the middle. And when that starts to show, that's the stable center. I think Go Sensei used the stable center itself. It's you. You're individual. You are totally unique. He picks up light there. That's pretty advanced. But when you're doing that, if you're picking that light out there, it's going to push you back. So you've got to really make sure that you're getting the right, left, and the light is coming from inside you. Okay? Right? Sometimes you can be too advanced and you go, huh? Because that's kind of your own key pushing you. So you have to kind of say, okay, the key shows as light. Everybody's real center is key. And that key can show as a point, it can show as a column, it can show as light, it can show as space, it can show as vibration or sound. It's, sometimes it's good to realize it can show in many different ways, but you'll kind of have your, your favorite, so to speak. But realize when you're working with people, everybody's different, and your trick might not work for them. You see, so the overall pattern is important. Now, what I thought we'd do a little bit is, okay, you've got your basic thrust motion. Got your basic thrust motion. Okay, try a couple. Just okay. Now you're still kind of going into the light that way. It's boom. It's inside you. It's inside you. Yes, that's better. Yeah. Okay. Now, this is something Sensei mentioned. So been sort of trying to respectfully mess around with it. Okay. And one of the things you said is move like a beam of light. Move like a beam of light. Now, there's me moving better. I'm going to move like a beam of light. I can't move like a beam of light when I start to move. The light blinds me. But if you're light, boom, move like a beam. Move like a beam. Move like a beam of light. Move like a beam of light. Move like a beam of light. Okay. Now, one thing that's important, if you were to really ask me what Osensei's was, I think it was the Kototama. Sounds with power. So, for example, you can all of a sudden move like a beam of light, move like a beam of light. You can move back like a beam of light, boom. Who used to move this way was Hikizuchi Sensei. Boom, move like a beam of light, move like a beam of light. What you find, for example, if it's an idea, all right, or conversely, I'm too fixed to do it. Move like a beam of light. You find the feet feel different. You find, for example, boom, you can, if you need to, you're going to move, boom. You ride that beam of light maybe a little further than, you think you can move. Okay, so I want you to go back. We were kind of doing right-left balance and move in circles freely around the stable center, but play the move like a beam of light with the thrust. One thing, don't tiptoe on it. Boom. You got to be like Shira. She doesn't say, for the honor of Grayskull. She says, for the honor of Grayskull. Boom. That feeling. Yeah, that's better. See what I mean? You want to be that light. And you want to give yourself not a fix, but a wider base there. Yeah. Okay. And you'd be surprised, just the vibration, even though it's English. Well, um, hikari no yo ni ugoku, move like a beam of light. It doesn't, the language is the language, but it's actually the vibrational power behind the words that's the Kototama. And so, since they did a lot of work, obviously without an uke. So I think part of his training was, okay, this pattern. How, oh, I can move. It feels like I'm moving like a beam of light. And so all of a sudden, the vibrational nature of this starts to infuse him or put his key at a different level. Okay, so that's an important one. Now, what you can do, for example, if you can move like a beam of light, you find, for example, you won't be too lead-footed or too off-balance here. Boom, boom, all right? Okay, it's almost like you ride that beam of light. Boom. You're still riding it. Yeah, see that feeling? Okay, now, if you can move like a beam of light, fly like lightning. Inabikari no yo ni tobu. Be able to, can you shift tracks from the beam of light to flying like lightning? Steve, you can't lift yourself up. Lightning flashes. Uh, it's not that you're light there. Light, karui. No, it's not that at all. But if you're omoi, you're trying to pull yourself up. Boom. So I think O-sensei, he studied nature because it got him out of his thought process into more. Okay, now what if I could fly? Lightning. Does lightning fly? No, it flashes, doesn't it? The thunder, boom, is different. You see the light flash, boom, then you hear the thunder. But boom, that moment is like flight. I wish I could really fly, but that's the closest I can get. And that really is the experience of ukemi. The experience of ukemi. So go again. Fly like lightning. Yes, that's better. Now let go some more. Yeah, that's good. So you're covering more ground there. Okay? So if you look at the martial sense of it, you're saying, oh, okay. So I think O-sensei's center was the Kototama, right? Yeah, he had other ways of being there, right? But his center was the Kototama, okay? Yuchen, move, fly. So you're going this way. You're thinking about flying. You're kind of flying. But boom, boom, fly, fly. So even more, okay? Now for here, I don't want heavy feet to fly. Boom. Let go. Boom, fly. Yeah, that's better. See, that's freedom. What is flight? We all want to fly without a plane ticket. We want to be like a bird, just fly, right? Supergirl, whatever. So fly, but fly like lightning. Okay. Okay. I was watching this video of Bruce Lee, right? And and he was having somebody. He was going like this, and somebody was supposed to block it. It was like that. Somebody would block it, and he went boom, and he just tapped that guy. Boom. And one thing that happens is that people are not dumb. When you set or ground to hit, people read it. But if you can fly like lightning, fly like lightning. So boom, fly like lightning. Boom. And this lightning comes out of nature, so it's not frivolous. Okay? Boom. But just getting rid of all the, all right? Okay. Boom. Okay? So transition. Move like a beam, fly like lightning. You're able to shift tracks. Shift dimensions. That's better. That's better, right? One thing right there. If you're flying like lightning, don't be on your way to something. Boom, boom. See what I mean? There's that sense right there, right? There's that movie, Superman Returns, where Brendan Ralph is a kid. It's not him, it's a different actor. He's jumping and jumping. Then he goes into the barn and he falls. And all of a sudden, he doesn't hit the ground. And that's a big moment. Ah. In other words, he realized he's flying, right? Now, oh, we can't, yeah, that's it. Enjoy it. That's a different track. I'm going to fly to get that. No, I'm going to fly. I'm going to really appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Now, even lighter. That's a different track. You might have super strength. You're the thing, right? But the Human Torch can fly, right? Everybody wants to fly. If you want a superpower, most people would pick flight, right? Better. Yeah. See that? You traveled. You need that. You need to be able to get places, dimensions, that sometimes other people can't reach. Okay? Okay. Now, what we get right here is if you can fly like lightning, boom, strike like thunder. Fly like lightning, strike like thunder. Boom, boom. Move like a beam of light, fly like lightning, boom, strike like thunder. Those are tracks. Each of them is a separate track. The more you establish you there, the more you go from track to track to track. And in the process, you learn how to move like a beam of light. You learn how to let go and be fluid and free, like you're flying like lightning. And when you need to, you can strike like thunder. Yeah, that's important. All right. Now remember, Steve, strike like thunder. Don't hold the thunder. Boom. Don't hold it. Boom. Yeah. Okay. 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 Yeah. Okay. Is that one right there? It has a body feel to it, doesn't it? It's not like I'm striking like thunder. It's like thunder strikes. Okay. All right. Now remember on that one, strike like thunder. Strike like thunder. Okay. Yeah, if Donald Trump were in the room and you had a chance he was being inappropriate, strike like thunder. You can't do that to me. I'm president of the United States. Thunder doesn't care. Yes, better. See that? Strike like thunder. Yeah, that's good. But you also want the other ones. You want to boom, move like a beam of light. See what I mean? Sometimes you got to move that way. And sometimes, if you're coming this way, it's like boom, boom, right? Now, if you're coming in that way, it goes boom. That's strike like thunder. There's a body feel to it. If you think about it, you mess it up. You can't see what I mean? It's a tricky one. Go, whoa, okay. There's a real difference between thinking about it, knowing about it, than actually being, standing in that stable center where you can shift tracks. These days, I mean, being a politician, if your major track is, I'm going to see what I can get out of this, you probably, I mean, that's why most politicians are there. But, it's like, okay, I got to go from the social unrest or harmony socially in the country to um, dealing with the pandemic to, um, just all those things. You got to be able to shift tracks. And if all you have is snake oil that you try and sell people, it's pretty easy to tell that after a while. All right, it's hard, because people just do what they do. They just do people stuff. But I think Osensei's major thing with the Kototama, you are to some degree in accord with the universe. Lightning is lightning, thunder is thunder, a beam of light is a beam of light. Okay, and so I mean, we're not at his level, but there's that area where boom, in the moment. Okay, so this for you, if you can, because the lightning, the beam of light, all right, is actually, your center is kind of the light right there. As you kind of stay with it, you might find something else there too. But that tendency to kind of like, you can't be, it's a little bit like the movie Thor Ragnarok. In the first part of it, Thor's got this hammer. He throws it at his sister. His sister just takes the hammer and goes like that. And he's lost for most of the film. He's absolutely pathetic. It's finally his father has to tell him, are you the god of hammers? What are you the god of? I gave you the hammer just to help you focus. You're not supposed to think that hammer is where your power is. You're the one that summons the thunder, aren't you? And then he says, oh, got it. Then he gets smart because he realizes he can't beat his sister. He has to kind of summon the fire. It was a searcher, the fire god, to actually, do exactly the counterintuitive thing, like destroy physical Asgard. That's the only way he's going to win is by giving that up. And so, a lot of times, just being able to shift from track to track, right? So, it's kind of interesting that Thor starts to think like a king. And then later he says, I don't want to be that. I'm going to go off with the Guardians of the Galaxy and I'm going to give it to. That's fine. He didn't want to do it. But in that moment, he had to think like a king would think. Okay? Right? It's interesting that Loki, even though he's Loki, thinks like a king. He's just a very dark king. And Thor's sister thinks like a queen. Thor is all over the place. That's what makes him kind of interesting because he's fighting this battle. I'm Thor, I'm a warrior. I have to be king. I'm a warrior. I have to be king. And so finally at the end he says, you be king, you be queen. I'm just going to go out there and hang out with these derelicts in a spaceship for a while. Okay. So, it's good. Sometimes you just know, maybe that track, I'm not ready for it yet. I'll take this one for a while. You see what I mean? And when we can do that, it's not like, I'm disgracing my father. No, Odin would want me. Or he starts to listen to his mother. Start being who you are and stop trying to be who somebody's told you should be. And then someday, maybe he'll be king. In the comics, he goes back and is king. Okay, but right now, he's not in a good place for it. Okay, so if you can shift tracks, you can be a healer. You in some sense, you could be a politician if you understood that. Okay, right? It's harder. Okay, you could be a warrior. All right, and sometimes the archetypes come in really funny ways. Because I realize when I wear this stuff, it's a golden bridge. Golden State Warriors. And those senseis, Ame no Ukihashi is a golden bridge, right? And when I first started watching basketball, I started watching, it was on Saturday mornings at 11, and they played, Wilt Chamberlain was a big draw. So he was on every weekend. I thought he was invincible because he scored 50 points and he was 7 foot tall. And so, all of a sudden, I was a Warrior fan, right? And then they moved to San Francisco, right? But it's funny how that works because sometimes you start picking up subliminal things, that you don't realize are important. But then if you go full cycle, and then they became not just the Warriors, San Francisco, they became Golden State Warriors. This is a bridge to get to our more original golden nature, right? And so you'd be surprised how crazy, crazy things you're following some sort of a pull back towards your true self. I wasn't obviously going to be a point guard or play for or start for the Golden State Warriors. You say, but that sort of stuff. But you know, this past year, every single thing you got to create a password for. Everything. So, and I hadn't really done this in years, but not major accounts, but God, Amazon wants me to create another password. Okay. And I started creating off of, the Avengers, the Diana Rigg character, this whole year. And then I found out, in March, apparently, she got diagnosed with cancer. And she passed away last month on the 10th. Then all of a sudden, I was kind of picking up something subliminal about her. Why is she in this password I'm creating for this crap account? I don't know. Mrs. Peel, da da da, or something. Her license plate number in this episode, crazy stuff like that. If you're a fan, you remember. And sometimes that's your subconscious telling you that there's some information coming through. Okay, and as we start to switch tracks, I mean, so a psychic is just somebody who is more conscious of that information. I'm not psychic, right? I can feel usually when something real bad's going to happen. I almost never know when something's good is going to happen. I was never the Kyoshiro, right? So, but I can use that. Yeah, I can say this is not, just doesn't feel right. I can usually get that. But anyway, any questions on that? David, what's the time like? Right at one? 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah. Something that we've been doing lately, just in terms of a kind of misogi practice, is you can do this with any length. You can do this with a bokken, right hand, left hand on now you can say, what is this? This is a counterclockwise motion. See, it's going rightward, and I'm forming like a cone. It's counterclockwise in a vertical direction. Then the next motion, all right, is clockwise. Right? The next motion, boom. And then you go left and right, right and left. Then you go up and down, down and up. Okay? So that's something I've been doing lately. And using some sound. So this position is Su. That's you. Now, when I go this way, the Su goes to U. I personalize it. Su, U. And then this first motion, Ah. This motion, Oh. One more time, U. And this goes leftward first, Eh. And up and down, E. Okay? So Su to U. Ah. Oh. U. Or sensei go and then re. And he would go e and then gi. So instead of he went e, re, e, gi. Okay? Su, original consciousness. All right? Well, since they called it maybe the one. And then, u, we get personalized within that. We're an individual soul within that. Okay? Ah, great universal parent. First one's probably mother, this one's father. Okay, and ooh, ooh, back to ooh. We're the child of that. And re, e, ye. I think you're positioning yourself because the original was more heavenly. And we're also here now on earth, and we're positioning ourselves right from the beginning to right here. Okay? So you don't really need to do it with the sounds. A lot of times, for example, I'll go, all right. And you've got housemates or something, you might not want to do that. But the actual Kototama is not the sound. Okay? But what happens is it actually creates a vibrational effect. Su, ooh, boom, boom. You personalize it. The great mind, the great body, boom, we're the child of that. Okay? And you can say this is the earthly realm where we are, and this is the connection to the more heavenly. We're right positioned there. So after a while, you make up your own dialogue. The Su runs both ways. Okay? For example, 1973, I'm thinking about going to Japan as a destination. Boom. It's not just a thought. I really start to plan for it, personalize it. I got to do some research. I didn't learn the Japanese as well as I should have. And then I got to start getting ready to go. Now, right here, this is boom, buying a ticket. A little different than just saying, okay, I'm going to go to Japan, right? And then you have a destination, your original place, Japan. Now, I wound up in this town called Shingu, and I found my way to the dojo. Boom. That's about as personal as I can get for that time. See what I mean? And so those movements are archetypal. Well, Sensei did them from whatever Sensei level he was, but he's trying to tell us something. And you can sort of look at this and make the whole thing so spiritual out there that you can't do anything. All right? Or conversely, you can just do everything at a very mundane level. Right? But Japan was a great adventure. It was scary. But it was like, it's kind of like, it's something that's bubbling up inside you. It's real messy sides and it's really incredibly beautiful sides. Okay? But if we go back over that, Su is either one, and boom, our position within. Likewise, we're here. Okay? We're not there. So Su becomes my destination, like going to Japan. And I have to boom, I should get myself together around that. Then I'm going to make some plans or allow, and I've got to boom kind of do a lot of the research and the legwork. Then I got to buy the ticket. And then, okay, and going backward for the heavenly or my lineup to it. And, so we're using a double, not just side to side, but also, Su chant goes, if you were a sensei was, you're kind of in the Takamagahara, the high plane of heaven. That's why I like this. It's the golden bridge, right? It's symbolic. So, I never wound up playing for the Warriors, obviously, okay? But there was something in the Kototama, warrior, then they come here, which I didn't expect. Oh, and then they changed their name from San Francisco to Golden State. You see what I mean? It's all part of a flow. Things start to, synchronicity starts to happen when you start to line up to. So I think that's where those sensei use this. He could meditate in the morning and be located in that original consciousness. Or if he's in the dojo, pretty quickly says, "Okay, I'm on my way to Sue." Call it for today. It's a good class. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. Um, let me do the bow out this way too. So, okay. All right. What am I doing here? That's where it went. Okay.